going to show you here is how I drill out these spot welds, because this is the brace, if you remember, that I have to remove. We may find that maybe the brace itself is out of position. Maybe I just need to reposition the brace, but once I get it out of here, I'll be able to tell. You don't want to go all the way through, because again, like I said, then you're going to end up having to fill a hole in both pieces, and we don't want to do that. All right, guys, what I'm going to show you here real quick is how I drill out these spot welds, because this is the brace, if you remember, that I have to remove so that I can get to the nut. Actually, I've got to take the brace off to move the nut. I've already gone underneath and marked the location so that I know where the cage nut has to get moved to. We may find that maybe the brace itself is out of position. Maybe I just need to reposition the brace, but once I get it out of here, I'll be able to tell. Either way, we'll be able to get this to bolt down, because that bolt's about right under here. Now, what I like to do on these things is I use a spot weld drill. You don't want to drill through these completely, because what you'll end up with is a hole that you now have to fill in both pieces. So I got on my drill here, this is like a number 50 drill bit, about 70 thousandths, and I'll drill right in the center of the spot weld of each one, and that gives me a guide for my spot weld drill. Now, you guys can pick these up at most good auto parts stores. These things are great, and they work really, really well. The biggest thing with these is you've got to watch your speed. I see a lot of guys, they run their drill full speed, and they burn these things up. I get a lot of life out of mine because I run them slower speed, and I'll use oil. I don't have the oil over here at the moment, and I'm just going to show you guys how I drill one out instead of boring you with drilling them all out. Anyway, like I said, you just take your drill, put it right over the center of your spot weld, and on this, I'll drill through. These spot weld cutters have a pilot right here, and it's spring loaded. They say you can center punch and it'll follow the center punch, but I've never found that to be true. They end up walking all over the place. So I drill a hole through. That's a guide all the way for this. Let's see how this goes here. Okay, and just like I said with the spot weld drill, same thing with your regular drill. Just keep your speeds down. It's better off. Your tools are going to last longer. You're not going to overheat things. I was a tool maker for 20 years, so feeds and speeds were critical. It's kind of stuck with me. So we did that, and now I'll go down, and I'm just going to go through the top piece. I'm just going to go through the trunk into the brace. And you'll know when you've got through the first layer. Almost. I think we're just about there. And that should do it. And it barely got into the second piece. I'll grab the camera here and I'll show you what it looks like. You can see it just goes through. You get through your first layer. You don't want to go all the way through, because again, like I said, then you're going to end up having to fill a hole in both pieces, and we don't want to do that. I'll end up going through the rest of these. I'll do them all. There's a couple over here. We got one here and one over there. I'll get all them out. We'll separate the panels, and then I'll come back and I'll show you the mark where the hole's supposed to be and where it actually is. Okay, we're back, and as you can see, it went very well. There's the brace that was underneath. There's the cage nut, and there's the hole location that I needed to be at. You can see it's not centered in here. So my assumption is going to be, and I'm going to check this, we may just reposition this on the trunk floor and that may solve all of our problems. But now I have the ability to move it around. As I mentioned with the spot weld cutter, this is what you want to use. So you can see we got some nice through holes that we can plug weld the brace back into. And if you look at the underside of the brace, you can see where the spot weld cutter just started touching. Comes off real nice and easy. And then to finish it off, what you guys want to get is a panel splitter. This is a panel splitter. I can't remember the name on it. There's the part number. But these things are invaluable for splitting spot weld panels, especially when you're using a spot weld cutter. You can find these on eBay. I think Eastwood sells them. There's a bunch of companies that sell these, but don't get the cheap ones. Get the ones that are a little more expensive because the heat treatment is a lot better and these will hold up a long time. The spot weld cutters that I'm using are the Blair. They call it the Rotobroach. The first kit, when you buy a kit, it'll come with the arbor. It usually comes with the arbor and 3 cutting heads. And then as you burn out the cutting heads, as they wear out, you can just buy replacement packs and it just screws right onto this arbor here. These things are invaluable. So I know you can pick these up at most good auto parts stores. These things work great, but like I said, go slow, drill a pilot hole, a small pilot hole that is smaller than this pilot on here. It's got to be smaller than that, and this is a spring-loaded pilot. And then that allows you to drill through, like you see there, without harming the base. So now we can weld that back in without too much trouble. So I'm going to get working on this. We're going to see how it goes. If I can get this back in today. See you in a bit.